another stream. This is going to be the last stream of 2024, which is absolutely mind-blowing to say this, because 2024 has been an amazing year. As I've said in a lot of streams, we've had the busiest year to date as far as like music and gigging goes. And in all honesty, I will actually be quite sad to see this year go. This year has also brought its ups and downs, but it's brought a lot of ups, and like in general for me, like I look back on this year as like I can't really complain. Like I've had a few little issues, like my nan is a little unwell at the moment, which isn't looking all too good at the moment. But apart from that, like I've had the busiest year gigging. I've moved into my own flat. I've got a motorbike on the road, which is kind of currently off the road, but that is only because the battery went flat and the battery has been taken off, but I don't own a charger. And the weather's not really been the best weather that you would really want to go out there and ride a bike in anyway, which is a little bit, that's just kind of how it goes. But apart from that, we've had like a pretty sick year, and I'm really, really glad about that. So I'm a little gutted that it's like coming to an end, but I'm more excited for what 2025 is going to bring. So we're going to do a little bit of an update stream. We're going to answer a question that I got asked on a comment to a video that was footage from a gig. And we're going to do some general updates as well, which is really, really exciting. So I'm going to start off the stream with just one real little update, which is just basically to say that I have got the producer edition of FL Studio again. So for those of you who may or may not know, I used to use a cracked version of FL Studio. It was a cracked version of the producer edition, and basically it was it was just a cracked version. And then, without going into the full story, I decided to purchase FL Studio, and me being the absolute plonker that I am, I purchased the wrong version of FL Studio, and I purchased just a single edition of FL Studio, which comes with a lot of limits and things that you can't do that you can do on the producer edition. However, there was quite a big discount off for the producer edition if you already had the single edition of FL Studio. And me and my friend, we kind of like, I just let him log into my ImageLine account basically. So he basically runs a full version of FL Studio. Big shout to people coming in, by the way. And so we just went halves basically to get the producer edition, so we didn't have these issues of having the limited to to 8 channels and things like that. So small update is I have upgraded to the producer edition of FL Studio. I'll just show you now. I've got FL Studio opened, but it's a full producer edition that I make all of my music on and stuff like that. So the second question, the second thing is a question that somebody asked me on the comment of a video, and hello, big shout. And I wanted to answer this because I feel like this answer could be a little bit controversial. I feel like some people might agree with my points and some people might not agree with my points. And the question is what is better to mix on, vinyl or digital? So for those of you who may or may not be completely aware, what is the difference between vinyl and digital DJing? So back in the day, before we had things like controllers and CDJs, or DJs, we used to basically mix on vinyl turntables, which would be big record players, and we would basically mix two 12-inch or 7-inch or whatever records together, whereas now we basically mix MP3 files together, CDs together. All those CDs are kind of also dying out, and we also can take songs now from streaming platforms like Spotify, Beatport, SoundCloud, and directly mix them and stuff like that. I'm from Hull, bro. So the difference between, like what is better, vinyl DJing or digital DJing. So there's a lot of people that go around online and they say like you're not a real DJ unless you're mixing vinyl, and real DJs are vinyl DJs, and vinyl DJing is like the real art of DJing. And in all honesty, like I kind of disagree. Now this is not me coming young, so I'm quite well advanced within like the technology world of DJing, as in like I use a lot of modern equipment. I know how to use the modern equipment. However, I have owned turntables. I have mixed vinyl. I used to play on vinyl turntables when I was like 11, 12 years old. Not really mixing on them back then, but like I still used to go on them. And I have a big love for vinyl records. I've got hundreds of vinyl records that I own, and I used to have a lot more. I ended up selling a few that I didn't really play. But I own quite a lot of vinyl records. And I do love vinyl. However, I don't think like the real art of DJing is a vinyl DJ, essentially. Now, to be a vinyl DJ, to mix vinyl, there is a lot more skill, and it does evolve a lot more work. You've got to use your ears a lot more, which I do think, that in some senses is like the pretty cool, and I suppose like the more hard way to do it, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's the real way to do it. So the way I look at like the whole DJing, and the way I look at like the whole situation of DJing is like video games. They evolve. So when we were kind of mixing on vinyl, that was kind of almost like when we were playing video games on the PlayStation 1. And then the PlayStation 1 evolved to the PlayStation 2, and it got a little bit better, and then each console got better and the games got better. The games got more, they looked more realistic and they felt more realistic. And DJing is kind of in a similar way. So when we were mixing on the vinyl turntables, it wasn't necessarily because that was the best way, it was because that was the only way at the time. So back then we couldn't hop on CDJ 3000s and have waveforms, but we can now. And to me, that is not DJing becoming fake. It's not DJing becoming stupid. It's not people that mix on controllers and CDJs. It's not them not being real DJs. It's the fact that our technology has just updated. It's improved. It's upgraded. It's got better as the years have come on, and we've been able to be given more features. We can do more with our DJing. We can control our music a lot more. Happy New Year to you as well. We can do so much more with DJing, and it's not, in my opinion, the case of whether the vinyl DJing is better than the digital DJing. The vinyl DJing was like where DJing started. It was the basic of DJing, where you would just basically put two tracks together and you'd mix the two vinyl records in time. And then there was people that got quite clever and were kind of able to, well, look, I can actually start scratching. And there was some people that would have really mastered some cool things with vinyl DJing, where they would do some really cool like chopping, and maybe they would have for whatever reason being able to just do some mad crazy things. However, like the digital DJing, I don't feel is DJing becoming cheap or becoming fake or not becoming real DJing. I just think it's DJing that's it's improved and the equipment's got better. So to answer your question, like I sit in the middle of it all, because like I like to play vinyl like now and again. and I own records at home, and I do like to have a vinyl mix, and I do think there's something quite cool about it. However, I am very for jumping on like controllers and CDJs and bits of software, and I'm very sort of in terms of like how the equipment's advancing and how the technology's advancing. I'm very much quite intrigued as to how the DJing's kind of evolving and the things we can do kind of on the future equipment, which is it's obviously a really, really cool thing. So for me, I really like the whole aesthetic of where DJing's kind of going, and the fact that we have all these big pieces of equipment that can do all these different things and have all these different features, and the fact that we've now kind of got almost like a tablet computer screen inside of our decks that'll do a range of different things. And I like the fact that we can see our track names, and we can see what speed of the track, what speed we're playing the track at. Although a lot of people kind of say that it's cheating, and doing it by ear is the best. And I do kind of recommend that if you are getting into DJing, definitely try and learn the actual art of mixing, because there is art there. So even if you are on like the newer equipment, like I don't know, put something over your screen to block the BPM and try and get it in beat without looking at the screen. I do believe there is some form of cool aspect into learning that. But by all means, don't not buy new equipment, and don't not use new features. That DJing has obviously advanced to in its in its later years, that kind of thing. So to answer the question, I don't know if the person who answered it will even watch this stream, but I'm in the middle. I like vinyl DJing. I like digital DJing. I think digital DJing, in my preference, is kind of better, just because it's the way we're going. It's very rare now you'll go into a nightclub and you'll see a pair of turntables. You get the odd like event that'll put an old school vinyl only night on, for people that want to get that feel of going back to the 90s, when mixing vinyl was a big thing. But I think personally that the new way of DJing is just as good. I just feel like if you are gonna take on like the new way and the new equipment, like just take some of the aspects from the vinyl DJing days and bring them over to the modern day. So definitely learn to beat match. Don't just rely on pressing the sync button all the time, and be cautious as well that that when you analyze tracks onto Rekordbox, that they don't like the little waveforms. If you've got them matched up, it doesn't always necessarily mean that the tracks are going to be completely in time. It just depends how the track's being made, or sometimes just the way Rekordbox analyzes it. Do I still mix vinyl? So I don't know how well you can see, but right behind me there is shelves full of vinyl records, and I don't currently at the moment own any turntables, because I actually got rid of mine last year, just because really I needed to buy something else that was far more important than keeping the turntables. So what I did was I got rid of a load of records that I just were hardly ever really going to play, ones that didn't really mean all too much to me, some that I probably shouldn't have got rid of, which I do kind of ever so slightly regret that. However, I kept the ones that really meant the most to me, and sometime in the future I will get some form of turntables. Again, I don't know what make I will go for. I would love to have Technics one day. If I won the lottery or something, then I'd get Technics and stuff like that. But you know, they're only really going to be for me to have a mix at home. So if I find some like cheap second-hand ones that, you know, they're not in mint condition but they work enough that you can have a mix on them, then I will probably be all right in terms of, you know, I will probably more than likely get some again at some point. Reloop 700. Yeah, I had reloops about 5 months ago, and I got rid of them to buy a motorbike because I needed a bike for transporting around work and things, and bikes aren't cheap, and the only feasible way I could really see myself getting funds to get a bike was to sell the vinyl. So the turntables went for, I think they went for about 300 quid for the pair. Or something like that. You know, they were second hands, they weren't the best, and I still think I got quite a good price for them. And then I got rid of like loads of hard house vinyls, which I kind of slightly regret doing it, but there was just so many hard house tracks that I didn't even know what half of them were. Like I'd hear them and then I'd, you know, like, oh yeah, I have heard that one before, but I wasn't that clued up that I knew them by name. And yeah, I knew some of them. You know, and I kind of do regret getting rid of them, but at the time I kind of needed to, and I thought, you know, they're rebuyable. You can buy them again, you know. So at some point I will get some turntables back and I will collect some vinyl again. It was just at this moment in time I needed money for something else, and they were just kind of sat there collecting dust. One of the turntables needed a head shell for it. It needed a head shell and, you know, needle cartridge and stuff like that. And at the time I just thought, you know, I need a bike, so they unfortunately ended up getting sold. But I know where they are. I could go and see them. Maybe not right now, but I could go and see them, you know, really whenever I want to. That, you know, the friend of mine bought them. So they're in the same city, and he only lives probably about 20 minutes away. So, like, you know, I could jump on a bus and go to his house and they'd be there, and I could have a mix on them if I wanted. So they didn't just go to a stranger. It went to somebody who's passionate about music as well. You know, and who knows if ever he's, you know, put them for sale in the future, maybe I'd buy them back off him again, who knows. But you know, that's where we are at the moment. So that answers the question anyway. So on to some generic updates. So the first one, just in case anybody didn't realise, I don't know how well I've mentioned this on YouTube. I think I actually have forgotten to do the announcement, so I'll do it now in here. So tomorrow is obviously New Year's Eve. So I will be in Grimsby, and I will be playing a set for New Year's Eve in Grimsby. I'm on at 12:30, so I'm playing my first set of 2025, which is really crazy that I am literally playing like a set more or less like, you know, I'm playing, I think this is going to be for me the earliest I have ever been on a pair of decks, like on a new year. So like I am literally going to play a set like half an hour into the new year, which is crazy. Like last year I did New Year, if you remember rightly, I did New Year in Sheffield. We did a pub in Sheffield, and I thought the night went quite well. I don't think the owner of the pub was totally impressed with some of the music we played, but I thought we did all right. And I played up until about midnight, and then they let some fireworks off, and then that was really it. So this year we're in Grimsby. We're playing a full set. I'm on for an hour, and it's going to be a shed load of fun. I'm really looking forward to it, and I hope there's a few people out for the new year. Got the layman hosting me, so you know, when the layman hosts one of my sets, like I've said this time and time again, and I even think sometimes he thinks I just like I chat shit and I just bluffer, and I just do it to make him feel better, because he's always somebody who kind of like doubts himself or doesn't feel he's done good enough. So like he'll come off a set and he doesn't think he's done that good, or even though he gets all these, like chances to host on the mic and all these bookings, he doesn't feel like he's good enough up there, or he does good up there. And I tell him all the time that he does really good, and I always like him on a set. If people book me, and if the layman's available, I like to try and get him the booking as well to host me, because I like him hosting me. He's got a really good character about him. When he's hosting, he's not just like the normal average MC that would come up on a set and it be on the mic. And in all honesty, and this is not just because he's a good friend of mine and I know him quite well, but if I had to choose, like, I would put him on one of my sets, like, over even some of, you could say, like, oh, you could have Chippy on your set, or I don't know, you could have somebody, and I just kind of think, like, I like what the layman does on a set for me, and he gives off just a really good vibe. And for me, like, I don't want anybody else on a set, really, because the layman just does it well. He hypes the crowd, he's interactive, we have fun, and I just really enjoy it. So he's on the set tomorrow. That's going to be wicked. Have you still got your Numark CDJs? I don't, actually. And very, very similar to the turntables, I could go and see them right now if I really wanted to. And believe it or not, the turntables, the Numark CDJs, are actually about a minute away from where I am right now. So they're actually on the floor above me in these very block of flats where I live. So when I upgraded, so I've got a Pioneer XDJ RX, and when I upgraded, I gave the CDJs away as a good gesture to a friend of mine who was getting into DJing, and I gave him as a little gift to help her out along the way, and just to give her something so she can have a little play around with at home. The CDJs, they were they weren't in the best condition. They'd had a bit of wear and tear out of them from me, so I didn't really feel like they would really be worth me really putting them for sale, like, because I'd just get like probably like just a really stupid price for them, and I just kind of thought, it would just be so much better if I just give them away. So I gave them away as kind of like a goodwill gesture to a friend of mine, just to basically say, like, you know what, you have these, and we'll go from there. And then basically, that's kind of the things. So they're just in the floor above me. I could go upstairs, I could go and mix on them right now if I probably really wanted to. I'm happy that they've gone to good use. So there we go. So on with some other quick little updates. So the next one being is this room renovation. So if you missed a couple of the streams, I proposed the idea of wanting to renovate this room. This is kind of like the music stroke the studio room, and in the new year I want to give this room a coat of paint. I want to give this room a little bit of an upgrade. I want to give it a bit of an update, and I want to kit it out a little bit more like a studio, so it kind of looks a little bit like a Bombs Hit It at the moment. And I would really like to have a little bit of a I'd really like to have a little bit of a kind of like revamping here. And I said about filming it as a little YouTube series where we do little episodes, and the episodes might only be maybe like 10 minutes long or something, but they'll just be like little clips put together of us renovating this room and kind of explaining kind of what we're going to do, and then just giving this thing a renovation. So the first issue was I live in a supported living place, so I wasn't sure if I was going to be allowed to renovate this room, in terms of like, would I be allowed to paint the walls and stuff, or would I, because of where I live, would it be something that I wouldn't be allowed to do? So that was a little bit of a worry for me. But then I cleared that up, and it turns out I am allowed to paint the walls as long as I just sort of like discuss with my social workers what colour and things. They said I can't use something that's going to be like real dark and dull, as long as it's something like quite nice and colourful or something like that, then we should be all right. Or if it's going to be nice colours, then that would be really, really cool. So we did a couple of streams, and what I'm going to do in the new year is I'm going to put the blueprints together, draw basically like the layouts of the rooms, and then I want to kind of measure all the walls of the rooms and really decide like where we're going to put things, where things are going to go in the new layout. So where's the production computer going to go? Where's the desk going to go? What are we going to do, in terms of that situation? And then we're going to put some like nice decor on the walls and things. And I just want this to be a really cozy, inviting little place to basically come in, and then when I have people round, it's going to look really cool, and people can come round and make tracks and make beats, and just be a really, really cool place, and kind of to disguise it from a normal living room looking place as well, which will be like a really, really cool thing to do. So that is going to come in the new year. I'm not exactly sure when. It will probably be towards the late January, early February, when I start putting a few plans in motion, when I start sort of discussing with the staff like what colour I'm going to do the walls, and just basically looking at, we're going to buy some, like, I want to buy a computer desk and things and stuff like that, and I want to kind of make sure that we don't do like 2 episodes and then the 3rd episode takes like forever to come out because we're waiting for something to get delivered in the post. So I'm kind of thinking personally that I will just get all the stuff ordered that we need for the series. And then if I have to, unfortunately, have a few boxes lying around, things that are like flat packed and stuff, then basically that will have to, we'll put stuff in some cupboards, and, we'll try and make do for a little bit, but I'd rather just have everything ready so we can roll the episodes out. So things I will be doing is a computer desk. I'll be getting a new desk for the decks to go on, and then I'll be getting some like wall decorations and stuff. So one thing I want to do is have my released tracks in like some like the album artwork in some photo frames and stuff like that. So some of the like Layman Productions ones, some of the positive reggae ones, and then some of the basically some of the Excite ones as well, which is really, really good. And that should be pretty cool, and we'll get some like wall decor, and we'll put some of the flyers in to some frames as well, and we'll just do some really cool stuff. I think I'm also gonna potentially put a green screen up as well, but we will see what happens. Essentially, we'll either do a green screen, or what I will do is I will set multiple webcams up, and we'll have some like switching cameras, and we'll just make the space look really nice. So when we are streaming, it doesn't just look like some tatty little living room. But I think the green screen might be something that will go up as well. The green screen's been requested a couple of times, and stuff like that. So finally, last but not least, and I'm gonna show you this. Before we end the stream. This is the next one, and it is to do with Excite Digital, which is the record label that I release on. So I want to show you this cool little update, what they have done, and it's really good. It's absolutely fantastic what they've done, and I really like what they've done. So I'm not going to show you it in too much detail because I don't want to go into too much detail and show any like private information and stuff like that, but I will basically try and show you what I can of this, because like this is really cool. So open DJ 123, boom. Okay, so yeah, so basically if you release tracks on Excite Digital, they have now given you this platform here, which is like you. It's basically, if you're an artist on like Excite Digital, you can log in to here. So you can log in and make an account on here, and essentially you can see like your track sales. So if I go to my dashboard, so you can see here, these are all of my tracks that I've released on Excite, and what it'll tell me is all the track sales of recent. So this has only been so this website has only been set up recently. So you can see like the Played Alive, it says that it's had 0 track sales, and the same with I've Got a Hangover, and same with Takes Me Higher. Now these did get track sales. They were released around about a year ago, and they got loads of track sales, but the royalties were already paid to me for that. So they've kind of they've gone back to the 0, because everything that's been, them tracks are kind of finished at the moment. Someone might discover them and buy them again in the future, and then they might end up like having a sale or something. Like High Hopes, somebody bought that very recently, and that came out just over a year ago. So essentially, there has been a track sale, which is quite good. And My Riding Solo also has one track sale as well, but it got more than that, and it peaked at like number 7 in the top 10. So it's just because this platform is new. So like since I registered on this platform, that is all the sales that I've had basically, and basically you can see the dates of sales basically on tracks. So you can see like each track, so like Feel This Moment, and you can kind of see like the dates that they got sales. So you can see that a few people bought my tracks in December, and then a few of them again the 3rd of the 11th and stuff like that, the 12th of the 11th, as you can see. So sorry, that they're in November, sorry. And then you can see in things like, yeah, you can kind of see like, all of these that have basically been the dates that they've been sold and stuff. And then you can also claim your royalties from here. So this would be royalties due, and then basically you can request for them to go straight to your PayPal, and you earn money from the tracks that you've made. So I checked this yesterday. I had £10 and 8p, so I requested that to be taken to my PayPal to get the royalties for it, and then this morning they actually paid me the £10 and 8p. And then also you can submit tracks as well. So I've submitted one at the moment, and it's just currently not been accepted yet. So whether they've reviewed it or not yet, I don't know how long it takes. I've just basically found this and started using it, so I don't know if there's a little process. I don't know how many people are releasing tracks, but it's a really good way, because originally I used to send a track to somebody who kind of worked for the label, kind of run the label, and then they'd listen to the track. They'd tell me like if it's been released, and then they'd send me all the artwork over, which it was good, and I liked the guy that I send the tracks to, and I probably still could do it that way. But then like he would have to text me and say like, oh, you've had so much on track sales, send you the royalties over. Whereas now you can go in and you can claim royalties, and then basically and I also have an artist project. I have an artist profile on the label website as well, which is a really good thing as well. So if I go back to Excite Digital, I will show you just very, very briefly, which it's kind of not worked. Let me just go back to the main website where you buy all the tracks from. So let me go here, because that for some reason won't. Yeah, welcome. Yeah, so that just takes me there. Right, I will show you. So if I click that, and then go to artists. So if I go to me, so you can see it's just going to load in a second. Here we are. So there I am, Noble. And when it loads, here's all of the tracks that I've basically bought, that I basically released through the label. You can buy them all for £2.50. So I do recommend doing that if you haven't done so already. Some really good ones, some really good remixes that I think are definitely worth buying. And and again, bookings and stuff like that. And there's even a little bio that tells you a little bit of information about me. And there is also a SoundCloud, which I don't think they've added the SoundCloud link yet, but that will take you directly to my SoundCloud. So it's a really cool way. Before you would have to basically go onto the home page. There was a search bar. And then basically you would just go into the search bar. I think I've just clicked the wrong thing. That's it. And then you would literally just have to type my name in, and then it would bring up all of my tracks essentially, which is crazy, and stuff like that. So for me, it's good that I have my own little platform now. And by the way, I'll show you as well, there was a track missing off of my profile, and that is because it's a collab with Joe Dunn. But because Joe Dunn was the one who sent the track off and submitted it, and it's under his profile, so he will receive the royalties for that. And then he would have to tell me, like, we've made so much, and then we would split the royalties between us. But the track actually didn't do all that too well. I think it wasn't really a known track. So is it only for bounce or house music? So they do. So if you look at the top, they do have a section for house music. So they have bounce and house. And they also have a sister website for hardcore as well, which is really cool. So there we go. Anyway, that is going to do it for the stream. So make sure to like, make sure to comment, share, and we'll see you soon. Yes.